Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Spencer's Music Room. Yes, I've changed the name once again, hopefully for the last time. Who knows, I might change it back again after, but in today's video, I'm going to make this intro quick. I'm going to try to finally finish my CD collection showcase here. I don't have that many artists left to show up my collection, and I've been meaning to shoot this video for a while, but you know, life gets in the way and whatnot. So after this, I have plans for bigger and better things on the channel, but I just wanted to do this as a little intro. So yeah, let's get started with, I think last time we were talking about Rush. I think now we're on to S, and we're gonna start here with the great band Soundgarden, and their album Bad Motorfinger. So I don't know if you can see this one very well. The lighting in here is a little dark, so I'm going to try to change up some things going forward in the future, but this is a great record. It's not one of my favorite albums from the band, but I got it because it has a few notable songs in here that are great, especially Rusty Cage as the opener is fantastic, and Chris Cornell's voice is just impeccable. Rest in peace to this amazing musician. And I'm going to rank the Soundgarden albums later on this channel, or at least that's the plan. So next we have my favorite, or, you know, I think it's a lot of people's favorite Soundgarden album, and that's Super Unknown. This is a great record, front to back. It's one of those albums that is just perfect all the way through. And this is where Soundgarden really, you know, they're in their element here. I feel like this is when the band is fully working together with Chris Cornell just to make this masterpiece. I mean, every song in here is great. I think my favorite is Fell on Black Days, but every single song here is fantastic, all the way through, all 15 songs. And the songwriting, the vocals, the lyrics, the melodies, everything about it. This is like 90s hard / alternative rock at its best, and it's amazing. Then we have Down the Upside by Soundgarden, another great record here. I think when I bought this album, I think I really only knew Blow Up the Outside World and Bird in My Hand, which are two amazing songs. And I, you know, took this for a spin in my car, played it, and absolutely fell in love with this record as well. It's incredible. Not quite as good as Super Unknown probably, but, you know, it's amazing. And again, like the vocals and the melodies and everything about this it's fantastic. Then we have another band that I became a huge fan of over the last few years, and that is 30 Seconds to Mars, and we have A Beautiful Lie. Great album. Really a product of its time, this one. You know, that mid-2000s kind of like hard rock kind of emo. It is pretty emo, this album, but it's great. I mean, Jared Leto is such a talented guy, so it's a shame that you know, I'd like to do an albums ranked with this band, but it's a shame that they kind of fell off in the recent years, and their last couple records have just been they're like not even them, like, you know, they lost a lot of band members, but they're kind of just, they're nothing like they used to be. They're a shadow of their former selves, and it's sad because the first few records were incredible. This is a fantastic album. Then we have 30 Seconds to Mars. This is War, just a great album. A very cool album cover, very powerful. Great record. I mean, I'm going to rank them, so I'm not going to talk about how I feel necessarily in terms of favorite, where this would rank, but it's pretty much perfect all the way through. There's a couple songs in here that I don't love as much as others. It's very experimental. It's a rock album, but it's a very experimental rock album, and a lot of these songs mean a lot to me because I used to play this all the time. Like, I just used to have this record on repeat, and when I discovered it, it was this album all the time. When I discovered this band, it was just this record I was constantly listening to all the time, and it's fantastic. Pretty much every song in here. Kings and Queens is the one that I think most people would know. This is War is great, and I think the best song on the record is Alibi. But I really would like to talk more in depth about this album, this great album, when I do my 30 Seconds to Mars album video. But yeah, I mean, I recommend this album if you're just getting into 30 Seconds to Mars, you haven't heard of them before. I'd say just take this album for a spin. Just listen to this front to back, and you'll know kind of the gist of the band. this was their peak, right? This is when they had everything figured out, in my opinion. They had all their sound figured out, and everything was firing on all cylinders were firing, and yeah, incredible album. Then we have the Tragically Hip with Road Apples, an amazing band, an amazing record. I wish I owned more Tragically Hip albums, actually, but I don't. And this album is pretty much perfect all the way through. I know I'm kind of a broken record in terms of talking about, oh, this album's perfect, but there's a reason I own them, right? When I start talking about more about bands and really getting into their discographies, there'll be a lot of stuff that I'm not so hot on compared to other stuff that I think is a masterpiece, right? But I mean, great album, you know, Little Bones, Twist My Arm, Cordelia, Fiddler's Green. There's too many songs on here to even, you know, it's just an incredible, you know, Three Pistols, amazing. Like, this is a fantastic album. Gord Downie was a poet. Rest in peace to that man. He's an incredible voice, an incredible talent. I wish I could have seen them live. They're just one of those classic Canadian bands that they're from Kingston, Ontario. Not a place a lot of people know about, but this is where the Hip are from, and they're incredible. Love this album. I wish I owned more. I'm really excited to talk more about the Hip, but you know, like 90s at its best right here. Okay, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about every single one of these because I own the entire discography for this band, and it's quite a lengthy discography. So the band is U2, and they're my favorite band of all time, and I'm very excited. I'm listening to all their albums actually right now. I mean, I've heard them a million times, but I'm really one at a time listening, track by track, without any interruptions, just analyzing everything, trying to be as unbiased as I can. When I'm doing the next video that I do will be all the U2 albums ranked from worst to best, which is a very hard video. It's going to be very hard for me, but I own all of them here anyways. Not every release, but all the studio albums and some other releases. So obviously first is we got Boy, their 1980 debut record. Incredible album. You know, just started, like, from this record you can hear the early their sound, kind of what it will become, and it's incredible. I mean, everything about it is great. The lyrics, the melodies, the vocals, the Edge already just creating these soundscapes with his guitar. Such a powerful debut record, like one of the best ever. And I am very much excited to talk more about these. I know I'm kind of flying through it, but I really don't want this video to be too long, over 30 minutes, and I want to get through the remainder of these. So then we have their 1981 sophomore album, October. Very good album. Not quite, like, I don't want to give away my how I really feel about them, but it's great. It's flawed, but it's great. Bono actually, for this one, right around the time they were about to record it, all the lyrics to his album were misplaced or stolen, he thinks, or they were just lost. Like, he completely lost every lyric to every song. So they kind of had to just wing it in terms of lyrics. Like, he just had to, you know, last minute, which for Boy, they had years to work on it, but for this, they did not. You know, you can tell the album's a little bit rough around the edges in terms of it's not quite the same quality as the first one, but there are some incredible songs, and I feel like they really sonically stepped it up here in terms of what would become later with, like, the Joshua Tree. I feel like they were kind of starting to propel themselves towards that sound a little bit. It's a great album, though. Then we have one of the best records ever made, I think, and that's War, 1983. Incredible. I mean, so many iconic songs on it. Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day, you know, Two Hearts Beat As One, Surrender, 40. Like, it's just an incredible song, or album, sorry. And I'm really, really excited to talk about War. It's just amazing. Like, and it just, I don't know what else to say. 10 out of 10 record, really. But this was peak early days of U2, right? This is it coming kind of to, when I'm saying peak, I don't mean for other things too. I don't mean it's necessarily my favorite. I mean, it's when they all had it figured out, right? Like, this is when they had their early sound figured out. It was at its fullest. They knew exactly what they were doing. And this is when they really started to gain popularity, and they deserved it with this one. It's incredible. And I'm really excited to talk more about the studio records. Then we have Live Under a Blood Red Sky, which was on the War tour. And I will talk a bit about this one because I'm not going to rank it. I'm not going to put it in the rankings because I'm just going to do the studio albums. But an amazing, it's one of the most iconic live albums of all time, right? And what a cover as well. I don't know if you could see it with Bono with the flag there, but it's just an incredible album. Only 8 tracks. Obviously, it's not the whole concert, but it was recorded live from Red Rocks Amphitheater. And what a cool venue. What a classic, historic venue. I think every band dreams of playing Red Rocks one day, right? And this was, you know, there's a video of the show, but this album surprisingly did so well. And it wasn't the whole show, but this album has become super, super iconic to the band. And for good reasons. This really showcased, for those who didn't know before, how good U2 was live, what a force they were live. Because even in these early days, they, with 3 records under their belt and some covers, they were incredible. Like, you could just tell right away Bono was made for being on stage in front of people, like Freddie Mercury, right? Like, he's one of those people who's a natural performer who needs to be out there. He can just sway the whole crowd, right? And I've seen them live 3 times, and they're mind-blowing. But even here, right? Incredible. I mean, so the 8 songs, you have their live version of Gloria, which is arguably the best version of the song. 11 O'Clock TikTok, which was a B-side that was not actually put on Boy, but they have a better, because, you know, they released. I think the live version is the definitive version of this song as well. You have I Will Follow, great live track. Party Girl, which this was also not a studio song, but they later put a version of it on the super deluxe version of the Joshua Tree. But again, great live track here. You have the iconic, probably the most iconic to this concert, to this album, to this era live performance is their performance here at Red Rocks of Sunday Bloody Sunday, and it's just amazing. The Electric Company, oh wow, I can't wait to talk about that song. Off of Boy, incredible. New Year's Day, of course, classic. And 40, which this version of 40, it might be my favorite. I've seen it live twice, the song, and it's incredible. But the crowd does something really special. When U2 go off stage, the crowd keeps singing for like a solid minute and a half. How long to sing this song, right? Like, they do that thing where they're all singing together, and they just keep the momentum going after. And it's an amazing concert moment. It's one of those magical moments live that it's a perfect way to end this record. Again, not the whole concert, but it's such an iconic record, and the sound mixing on this thing is fantastic. Everything about this album, it's a great live listen for the first 3 albums. Amazing. Then we have the beginning of their more sonically driven era, The Unforgettable Fire. An unforgettable album, just an incredible record. Obviously, this is the one with Pride on it, which was really, this was the point where it just catapulted them into fame, and rightfully so. Just an incredible track, but also the whole album from front to back is a 10. There's not a bad song on it. It is experimental, but it's also very grounded in what made U2 great with the first 3 albums. And I'm really excited to talk about it because it's one of my favorite albums ever made. A Sort of Homecoming, just to begin like that, is flawless, and I'm really excited to talk about this one. Then we have the big boy, their magnum opus, according to most people, and that is The Joshua Tree. Incredible, like, perfect album. I know I've said it a million times on this channel, but it is. There's not a skippable song on this, and has some of their most iconic, like just the first 4 tracks, Where the Streets Have No Name, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, With or Without You, and Bullet the Blue Sky, just to begin this record. Those have to be, in my opinion, I think that's the best sequencing of 4 songs to begin an album ever. That has to be like top 5 of all time, right? In terms of sequencing to start a record. Just amazing. Not a bad thing to say about it. I'm really excited to talk about the sound, because this was the first U2 record I heard, and when I heard Where the Streets Have No Name, that intro, my love for music just completely changed. So I'm really excited to talk about this album, what it means to me, in a video coming up very soon. Then we have Rattle and Hum. This is a weird one because like half the album is live and half of it is new songs in the studio. And there's also some covers and a couple different versions of songs. Like I still haven't found what I'm looking for, but a great record. Another flawed record, but really, really, like, it has some of the best, like, All I Want Is You is top 5 U2 songs for me, and it's a great way to end this record. And obviously has Desire and Angel of Harlem and these huge songs. Really interesting, strange, cool idea for an album, and I'm really excited to talk about it because they really did change their sound a lot for this, so I'm excited to give my full opinion on that. Oh, then we have Achtung Baby, one of the most experimental, one of the best experimental payoffs of all time. I think they really changed, as Bono said, they cut down the Joshua Tree, and it's resulted in one of the best albums ever made. I mean, obviously, it's the song with, or it's the album with One on it, which I'll save my thoughts on that. I'll get into it later, but that song was massive for them, and amazing record all the way through. Like, not a bad song, but to open it with Zoo Station is amazing. To close it with Love Is Blindness is flawless, and I'm really excited to talk about this one. I wish I could go to the Sphere where they're playing in Vegas right now and they're doing this whole album. I would have sequenced though, so really interesting idea there, but I really wish I had the money to go to Vegas and see this album because it's one of my favorites and it's a flawless masterpiece from U2. This is when they really changed their whole sound. Actually, so I seem to be missing a jewel case here, but that's okay. I own it. You'll just have to believe me, and that is Zooropa. It's a weird record, and I'm really excited to talk more about it. It was a lot of the outtakes and B-sides from Achtung Baby that they didn't use, and they released it a couple years later. They cleaned up the production. They had Flood producing it, and they wrote some new songs too and did some cool stuff there. But I have very mixed feelings about the album, and I'm really excited to talk about it. Has one of their greatest songs of all time, Stay, on it, masterpiece, and some really great tunes with some really weird experimental songs too. Definitely a change of sound, as well as this one, Pop. This is very different. I think when they came out with this, it was really polarizing, but I'm excited to talk about it nonetheless. It has some amazing songs. As Bono said, it begins at a party and ends at a funeral, is the way he describes this album, right? And say what you want about how, the production may have been unfinished, a lot of things were kind of left on the cutting room floor, but a lot of things that they felt were rushed, they kind of felt rushed to put out the album anyways. It resulted in one of the best tours of all time, Pop Mart, the Pop Mart tour, which they actually have the thing that the little design they went with on the back of this album. But a lot to say about this. A couple of these songs are some of the best they've ever written, and a few of these songs are some of the weirdest and just strangest songs they've ever written. So I'm excited to share my thoughts on that. Then we have a return to form in All That You Can't Leave Behind, just an amazing, phenomenal album. Year I Was Born, actually, 2000. Has one of their biggest hits, a few of their biggest hits, but notably Beautiful Day on it. Stuck in a Moment's great. There's the B-sides, I think, are the heart of this album and really make it. I actually own this one on vinyl, as well as The Unforgettable Fire, but I listened to this recently on vinyl, and it's flawless for the most part. Just an incredible album. I actually bought the super deluxe version of this when they released it in 2020. I think it came out in 2021, though. But yeah, I bought the super deluxe version of that. Then we have How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. Again, just like All That You Can't Leave Behind, it's just U2 being amazing as being U2, right? They have their sound locked in. The Edge is great. Bono's great. The vocals on this album are notably insanely incredible, like amazing. Like on every album, but this has some of their best songs on it ever, like Vertigo. Notably, Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own is just a masterpiece, like an incredible song. City of Blinding Lights, All Because of You, Original of the Species is my favorite song on the record. I'm really excited to talk about this one, and it's gonna be really hard to rank them. I haven't actually gotten to this point yet in listening. I am on Rattle and Hum right now. I'm about halfway through their career. But yeah, it's gonna be really hard to rank these. We have No Line on the Horizon, 2011. Really, really, really good album. Some lesser songs on here too. It's another flawed album, but the highs are super high, and it resulted in like, well, I think for years the highest grossing tour of all time, the 360 tour, which I wish I could have gone to. I wish I was a fan at that time. But no, great songs on here. Magnificent, Moment of Surrender, Unknown Caller. Those two, Moment of Surrender, Unknown Caller, I really want to talk about because there's something super special about those songs, and the production and everything it's haunting. Amazing, some amazing songs on here. I'm really excited to talk about it, and Bono claims it's his best vocal performance, this record. Then we have the last two that kind of go together, so I'll show them together, but we have Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience, which were released 3 years apart, but it's kind of a two-part thing. It's like Green Day's trilogy, right? Even though those were released like a few months apart, it's kind of similar. So I saw both these tours. I saw the Innocence tour and the Experience tour, and they were incredible tours. If you put these together as one, which they're not really, you have an incredible, like they should have been a double album, but fantastic songs. I think they're both flawed records, especially this one, their newest one. But I think this one is fantastic. Like this gets a lot of flack because Songs of Innocence does, because it was the one that they gave everyone for free, and people hated that for some reason. But there's some really, really amazing songs on this album, and I'm really excited to talk about it. There are some also fantastic songs on this. I think one of the best songs they've ever written is on this, and I will save that for my review. But yeah, this one's amazing. This one's good. Together, they're really friggin' good. But yeah, so those are the last two U2 records, Innocence and Experience. I feel like they are supposed to kind of be listened to together because when you listen to if you listen to the second one, there's a lot of stuff from Songs of Innocence, a lot of lyrics, a lot of melodies that they bring back on this one. It's like listening to Dark Side of the Moon. You know how there's a lot of melodies later in songs that they use in previous songs. It's kind of similar, not comparing it to Dark Side of the Moon, but you know what I mean? Like they reuse a lot of melodies and words to kind of tie it into this tale they're trying to tell with these two records. So very interesting. All right, then we have I'm going to quickly show you four here. Deluxe version of the Joshua Tree. I didn't need to own it, but I own it. I already have the record, but here you go. I have 2 copies of it, and I have a full live concert on this thing, so that's pretty cool. It's fantastic. We have the best of U2 1980 to 90. I mean, it really kind of is, but I am such a big fan that a lot of songs here, you know, I wish were on here. And then we have the best of U2 90 to 2000. So excluding anything, I believe, after All That You Can't Leave Behind. So, which would make sense, but I think Vertigo might be on here. But anyways. And then we have U2 18 singles, which is kind of it's a compilation album of just 18 singles they put out over the years. And they're all great. And they have a song with Green Day on here, which is cool. All right, that's U2. I'm excited to review those. Now we have 2 left in the collection here. An amazing record, one of my favorite albums of all time. I think everyone knows one song off it, but if you listen to the whole thing from front to back, it is an experience. And that is Urban Hymns by The Verve. Just an incredible song. Album, sorry. I think the song everyone knows is Bittersweet Symphony. You know, that's just an all-time classic. But all 13 songs on here are flawless. Like, I honestly believe that every song is a 10. It's just an incredibly sonically pleasing album. Amazing lyrics, amazing vocals, amazing music. Just Britpop at its best. You know, like if you haven't heard the songs Sonnet, or The Drugs Don't Work, or Lucky Man, or One Day, or This Time, I just really, really recommend those songs as well, because I feel like it gets overlooked. When people see this cover, they think Bittersweet Symphony. Incredible song, but I think that the rest of this album deserves a lot more credit. Just an incredible album, and I'm excited to talk about The Verve more on this channel. And then we have... what is the name of this album? I haven't heard it in a very, 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 very long time. And I probably should remember, but I'm not going to. So we have this White Stripes record. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't. Oh, White Blood Cells. It's called White Blood Cells. Okay, so White Blood Cells. You could tell it's been a long time since I've listened to this album. White Stripes are great. You know, I saw this album for a very cheap price. I think it was a few bucks. So I picked it up, and everyone knows their album Elephant. I think Elephant is their magnum opus. But this is pretty damn close. I think it was probably I think it was before they released Elephant, was this one. It has some really big songs for them on it, like Fell in Love with a Girl. Obviously, that's a huge song for them, and I think that was one that really put them on the map. That's on this record. We have Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground as well. There's a lot of good songs. There's a lot of songs that are kind of just noise, though, I feel like, you know. It's very white. It's about as White Stripes as you can make an album. With Meg White pounding on the drums and Jack White doing his vocals, his iconic vocals, and his really grimy, dirty guitar, and it's great. But there's a lot to be desired here. For me, you know, I'm not a huge White Stripes fan, but I know that there are, for White Stripes fans, I'm sure this is just a perfect album. But I don't know, it's a White Stripes record. You know, it's good. I like it. It's solid. I would listen to it again. But I think the two standouts that are absolutely incredible songs are Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground and Fell in Love with a Girl. Those songs are amazing. And Jack White, an incredible, incredible artist. Love him, not just for the White Stripes, but for his other work as well. And that's it. That's my CD collection as of right now. The ones that I own. It's not the extent of what I listen to, of course. But I'm very excited to talk about U2's album discography in my next video. Yeah, guys, if you've watched all 4 of these videos for some reason, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really don't I don't expect people to stick around, but if you are sticking around and listening to my opinions, then that's great. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think of my collection. You know, it's not the best collection. It's not that diverse, but I'm hoping you'll stick around for my future videos and covers, and I'll do some of my own songs maybe. I'm actually in the process of recording an album right now. But next, those rankings. So if you have any band suggestions of, you want me to listen to their discography and rank their albums, in my opinion, worst to best, let me know, because I would love to do so. If it's a band I haven't heard much of or at all, that would be very interesting, because it's one thing for me to talk about, you know, U2 or Counting Crows or REM or, you know, any of these bands that I'm planning on doing that I've heard a million times. If it's a band I haven't heard, it'll be more fresh, and I'm looking forward to doing so. So thank you so much, as always, for stopping by my little corner of the internet here. I appreciate you immensely, and I will catch you next time. Rock on.